What up? Friday, Friday, Friday. It's Freaky Friday. It's Homecoming Friday for us. And it's Money Making Friday, Follow-Up Friday for you. So, let's talk today about an objection that I have heard a lot. In fact, it was the first video I ever made. I kind of addressed this issue, and I addressed it directly to the men, actually. It was a video to men, but I'm going to address it differently today to women. And it is the topic of I don't get support from my spouse, and so therefore I can't be successful. I'm struggling. I'm not doing well because my hubby doesn't support me. Ever heard that one? Ever lived that one? I'm not sure that pertains to a lot of the people in this group, but I think maybe one or two of you it does, and I certainly know that members of your team will say this to you. That they're struggling, they're having a hard time, and the reason that's happening, the reason their business is so hard is because they don't have support at home. So here's the truth. I like to speak truth. The key to overcoming a lack of support from your spouse is very simple. Don't require it. That's it. Problem solved. When we sit there in the suck hole saying I don't have support and I need it and I can't do it because I don't have it, we've created an excuse. It's the truth. So how do you overcome a lack of support from your spouse? It's very, very simple. Don't require it. I know a lot of women who did not have support from their spouse who went out and crushed this business. It is not a lack of support or how much support you have from your spouse that determines your success. In fact, it's not that at all. It's not an abundance of support or a lack of obstacles that creates success. It is absolutely your level of determination and commitment. Let me say that again. It is not an abundance of support or a lack of obstacles that creates success. It is truly your level of determination and commitment. That's what creates success. So, here's a couple of things that I'll say about not having support from your spouse. If you don't have support from your spouse, there's a couple of things that I would suggest you do. And number one is have a conversation. Have a real conversation, not a whiny conversation that is, I really want to be successful in this and I really want to do good and but I can't do it because you just don't support me. Not that kind of conversation. I mean the kind of conversation that goes like this. Look, bub, here's the deal. We are equal partners in this relationship. And I have decided, I have made up my mind, I am committed that I am going to make this thing work. I'm going to make it work, whether you support me or don't support me. It's not necessarily relevant to my success. I'm going to make this work. You can support, not support. You can approve, not approve. You can accept, not accept. But I'm going to make this work. And so the only thing I'm going to ask of you is to don't tackle me. Don't get in my way because I'm determined. I'm committed. I'm going to make this work. Do you understand that? If you respect me, you respect this marriage, don't get in the way. And that was my first video I made to men. Like, hey, you don't have to understand it. You don't got to like it, right? We just don't have a brain power for a lot of this not brain power, but our minds don't think this way. We as men are trained to go out and get a career, or get an education, get a trade, and we get out there and we hump it out 40 plus hours a week and we provide for our family. We don't have the wiring for this kind of business. We just weren't made that way. And so my comments to the guys were, hey, you don't have to understand it. You don't have to like it, right? Just don't get in the way. Just stay out of the way. And that's the same kind of conversation you have to have. If you're actually committed to your success, if you're actually determined, look, bub, you don't have to support me and like it. Just don't get in my way. Don't tackle me. Not the little meek, I can't do this without that's not true. You can do anything without anyone's support. There's hundreds of examples of women who have done this without support. So that's just not true. Now, a respectful spouse shouldn't try to tackle you and get in the way. I completely agree with that. Number two, here's the second thing you can do. Walk the walk, ladies. Walk the walk. If you're going to talk the talk, if you're going to have the tough guy talk, if you're going to have even the meek little whiny talk, walk the walk. If you say you're going to do this, if you say you're going to be successful, if you're going to spend the money on auto ships, if you're going to go to the conferences, if you're going to spend time and take your time away from your family, any reasonable spouse is going to be like, wait a minute. You're doing all these things. How am I supposed to support you when you're doing all this crap, but you're not building success? Walk the walk, ladies. Like a reasonable spouse. I just want to put this in perspective. A reasonable spouse would question anyone who's taking time away from the family, who's spending money without making it, and who's going to places and doing all these things, but not building the thing that they said they're going to build. That's a reasonable person that says, wait, I'm not supporting this because none of it's doing what you said you're going to do. So number 2, walk the walk. Here's what I found. Most women who complain about not having support actually had support at one time. They had it. Or they at least had someone who wasn't getting in the way. What changed was they didn't walk the walk. They didn't build the business. They didn't work the way that they were supposed to work to generate the success that they said they were going to do. And so their spouse is going, wait a minute, I'm not on board with this. That's reasonable. You should appreciate a spouse that doesn't want you out there taking time and money and effort away from your family for nothing. Right? So think about that. I want to say this one more time because I honestly believe it. It's not abundance of support or lack of obstacles that ensures your success. It is your determination and your commitment that does. Own it. Talk the talk. Walk the walk. That's how you overcome objections from spouses. Don't need it. Or I'm sorry. That's how you overcome a lack of support. You don't need it. I was not an overly supportive spouse. I wasn't in the way, but I didn't support it. My wife crushed this without my support. Again, I wasn't necessarily an obstacle. I was too busy doing my own jam. There are hundreds of examples of that. You can do this if you choose to do this. And that's the uncomfortable, true conversation to have with someone who says, I can't, or I'm struggling because I don't have support. And look, here's the truth, ladies. I'm going to let you in on another little truth here. It's the same for your upline. It's the same for your sideline. You don't need my support. You don't. It's all up to your determination and your level of commitment to be successful. You don't need the support of your spouse. You don't even need the support of your upline. That's the truth. Go crush some Friday money. Boosh. Walk the walk today. That's my task. Walk the walk.